my life is fueled by my being.
Yeah.
And the being fuels the doing. So I come from a centered place. I come from a focused place. I come from compassion. It's just my nature. I come from a willingness to understand and to be understood. And I come from wanting to connect. I mean, the secret of that show for 25 years is that people could see themselves in me. All over the world, they could see themselves in me. And even as I became more and more financially successful, which was a big surprise to me, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
You mean you got more than that 30,000?
I got more than 30,000 by the time I was 30. But what I realized is through the whole process, because I'm grounded in my own self, that although I could have more shoes, my feet stayed on the ground, although I was wearing better shoes. These are kind of cute today too. So I could keep my feet on the ground even though I could get more shoes. And I could understand that it really was because I was grounded. Was doing and continue to this day to do the consciousness work. I work at staying awake. And being awakened is just another word for spirituality, but spirituality throws people off and they think you mean religion. When I was hiring people for my company, for looking for presidents, when people would come in, I'd say, tell me, what is your spiritual practice? And literally would throw people, well, I'm not religious. Or I said, I didn't ask you about your religion. I asked you what's your spiritual practice. What do you do to take care of yourself? What do you do to keep yourself centered? What do you do to the... And, one woman started crying. You know, that's not the person.
So that's a sign.
That's a sign. So to answer your question, everything is fueled that comes from me really wanting to be a better person on earth. And this is what I know to be true. The reason why the show worked is because I always understood that there really was no difference between me and the audience. At times I might have had better shoes, but at the core of what really matters, that we are the same. And you know how I know that? Because all of us are seeking the same thing. You're here at this fabulous school, and we'll go out into the world and each pursue based upon what you believe your talents are, what your skills are, maybe your gifts are. Cool, I said to my beloved friend, Maya Angelou, I said, Maya, I'm just so proud that I was able to create the school. I said, this is going to be my greatest legacy. And Maya said to me, you have no idea. You have no idea what your legacy will be, she said to me, because your legacy is every life you've touched. And that shifted the way I saw legacy or what you leave behind or what you do. Because Maya was explaining to me that, over all the years of watching your show, everybody who decided that they were going to go back to school or lose weight or no longer hit their children or get out of a bad marriage, all of those people who have seen and experienced your voice. And the same thing with everybody here. You have no idea what your legacy will be. Your legacy is every life that you've touched. And we like to think of it, I know you have done amazing things with your philanthropy. We like to think that these great philanthropic moments are the ones that leave the impact or will make the huge difference in the world. But it's really what you do every day. It's how you use your life to be a light to somebody else's, and it's how you use your work as an expression of your own art, whatever that is. So I think I would say the girls, as I get to watch them now graduate from college and move into their lives, but really, there is a moment that happened to me just about a year after I went national. There was a woman in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who wrote me a letter that would go on I'm not going to have a tombstone, but if I had a tombstone, wasn't cremated, it would go there. She said, Oprah, watching you be yourself every day makes me want to be more of myself. And I just don't know of anything better than that.
There doesn't have to be loneliness in being alone, and you can find romance in your life even if you aren't involved in a romance. Life can be beautiful and spontaneous and surprising and romantic and magical without you having some love affair happening. And you can replace all of those feelings you used to have when you were enamored with someone with being enamored with your friends and enamored with learning new things and challenging yourself and living your life on your own terms. I never understood it when people would say, oh, in your 20s, you just need to be alone. And I never quite got it because they would never explain to me that it's so important to define yourself on your own terms. You think about it when you're in love. That person's opinion affects your opinions. And everything you do goes through this filter of how would they feel about it. Because if you're a caring person and you're in love, then that's what you do. But there's something really wonderful about changing your life if you want to, cutting your hair short if you want to, moving to New York if you want to, changing directions of your entire creative outlook if you want to, and having it only be on your own terms. A man does something, it's strategic. A woman does the same thing, it's calculated. A man is allowed to react, a woman can only overreact. To females in the media, you'll see something that kind of upsets me, which is that females are pinned up against each other, more so than men. For example, like you never see online, vote for who has the better butt, this actor or this actor. It's always like this female singer, I think that one thing that I do believe as a feminist is that in order for us to have gender equality, we have to stop making it a girl fight, and we have to stop being so interested in seeing girls try to tear each other down. It has to be more about cheering each other on as women, and that's just kind of how we are held at a higher, sometimes impossible feeling standard. And it seems that my fellow female artists have taken this challenge and they have accepted it. It seems like the pressure that could have crushed us made us into diamonds instead. And what didn't kill us actually did make us stronger.
There's always going to be somebody that picks on you or makes you feel small or makes you feel like that picks on you. There's always going to be somebody that picks on you or makes you feel small or makes you feel like you're weird because you're different or makes you feel like you don't deserve what you want. Something I learned a few years ago was that it's not our job to try and make people like us if they don't want to. And when you learn that and you embrace it, life gets a little bit easier. If you could approach it like this, anytime somebody makes you feel insignificant or small or stupid or weird or annoying or ugly or not good enough in any way, shape, or form, if you can take that feeling, recognize it, and make sure that you never intentionally make another human being feel the way that that person has just made you feel, I think the world would be a lot nicer place to live.
I imagine the idea of a normal college experience was all you wanted to. But in this case, you and I both learned that you don't always get all the things in the bag that you selected from the menu. Things in the bag learned what you wanted to. I imagine the idea of a normal college experience was all you wanted to. But in this case, you and I both learned that you don't always get all the things in the bag that you selected from the menu in the delivery service that is life. You get what you get. And as I would like to say to you wholeheartedly, you should be very proud of what you've done with it. Life can be heavy, especially if you try to carry it all at once. Part of growing up and moving into new chapters of your life is about catch and release. You get to pick what your life has time and room for. Be discerning. Secondly, learn to live alongside cringe. No matter how hard you try to avoid being cringe, you will look back on your life and cringe retrospectively. Cringe is unavoidable over a lifetime. Even the term cringe might someday be deemed cringe. I promise you, you're probably doing or wearing something right now that you will look back on later and find revolting and hilarious. You can't avoid it, so don't try to. Hard things will happen to us. We will recover. We will learn from it. We will grow more resilient because of it. And as long as we are fortunate enough to be breathing, we will breathe in, breathe through, breathe deep, breathe out. And I am a doctor now, so I know how breathing works.
Inhale. I just wanted to sort of, the only way I could access how I was actually feeling was by doing my music. And I think for quite a number of years, maybe actually straight away after 21, up until I started writing this record, I think I'd forgotten, or I was ignoring, how much music helps me and what a gift it is to have such an interest and an ability with music that I can have, when I posted the letter about my album, it was my ride or die. It never left me when my ability to make this album and to want to go and be musical, that feeling never left me, and every other ambition to do anything completely left me. I didn't even want to wash my hair. I didn't want to get up one morning, many mornings. I wouldn't go to my friend's anniversary party. I had no desire to go and do any of those things, but I wanted to go and do my music. It was reliable and it was consistent and stuff like that for me. And I think I really disrespected that feeling that I have, that friendship that I have with music. I don't feel like I utilise it very well, for the last, not decade, but maybe 8 years of my life.
What went on?
Because it frightened me. My hobby became my job.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have, normally you have a hobby outside of your work, that's where you go and let steam off, and that's where you go and have your fun. But to me, I was unable to differentiate the two. So I'd be like, why do I want to go and do my hobby when my hobby's my job? What's my work the whole time? And I think I just, fame scares me, and, fame comes with my job and stuff like that. But having that comfort, having that best friend and being able to do the music is what I wanted to explore. I didn't know what I was going to write about necessarily all the time. And there was a few songs that didn't make the record, but I knew that I could work through my personal issues if I was just near a studio. Didn't mean that other people had to hear it necessarily, but as I was making the record for longer and longer, I realised I was really making progress, emotionally. And I had a story to tell about with the songs, which might help other people that either need to start doing the hard work on themselves, or people that might never ever do it, but it can give them comfort by listening to someone else trying their hardest to get through the process, So I didn't really want to teach myself or, tell myself anything other than that I could still get out of bed in the morning and go and do what it is that I love to do. That was it, really. That was the only thing I was trying to tell myself. But with Hold On, which is definitely a song where I'm clearly, I think it's obvious that I'm talking to myself, but I do think a lot of people will listen to that as in she's talking to me as well, which is wonderful. It was just, having nothing left to sort of prove, or I was doing everything I could to survive, in terms, I'm not talking about my music, I'm talking about in life. And I might, I think probably around the time that I wrote that, I was feeling better and my anxiety had gone and stuff like that, but also just being well, at least I've done the hard work. At least I haven't avoided it, and it might take another 10 years for me to feel like I'm okay and stuff like that and safe again. So just hold on. I'm doing a good job, just because, Rome wasn't built in a day. It was that kind of thing. I always was when am I going to feel better? It better be tomorrow, it better be next week. And there was no deadline anywhere. It was just in time. So that was all that was. It was just being disappointed in some of the decisions that I'd made, but also knowing I was making some progress.